Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Whose Fault Is It Anyways? Today we're looking at a Crusader offlane Necrophos, and I want to hone in on this idea where Necrophos says, techies kept leaving me alone in the lane, and then Wraith King would do a ton of damage to me. The lane went really badly. Like, how do I deal with that? This is a very important concept to offlaners. You are not meant to 2v2 the entire laning stage. Supports need to move around. So recognizing opportunities to make yourself safe and how to still get things done while being on your own is very important. And so in this game, you have 4 extremely preventable deaths that I want to show you, and also show you and everyone watching. These are the times you're supposed to be left alone so that techies can do things around the map. First off, you go for this first blood on Shadow Fiend. Techies comes out. We missed a spell. Let's not worry about that. You guys run him down. You get the kill. You know what? I'm down for it. But take a look at how low you are. You also used a stick here. You should probably just walk into this tower and die. Save your stick charges. Why? It is 15 seconds into the game. Your death timer is 12 seconds. 2-3 seconds to die to the tower, respawn, teleport out, walk down here. It's probably about 40 seconds into the game at this point. You probably wouldn't have really missed any creeps. If you walk to the lane, maybe tango along the way. That way, in case you die while you're at low HP, you'll still have your TP. If you TP to the lane like you are like this, you're here with 160 health. This is not a lot. You're going to have to eat all your tangos just to get back to full health. You'll still be missing mana. You're going to have to immediately buy some regen. If you want to do this, that's fine, but you have to be extremely careful. And so you just walk point blank into this Wraith King, and surprise, he's going to stun you and run you down. I mean, what did you expect? You had 150 health. Of course he was going to try to kill you. It's actually good he chased you this far because it means he wasn't here. If he just sat here, like after you did the first stun, you were back here. If he just started hitting his creeps, this lane would stay here. And if you want to come here while low health, your main objective here is to just try to mess up equilibrium to get it to come back here, which is kind of our goal as an offlaner anyways, because this opens up a lot of potential for our support to leave or for us to play aggressive because the lane's all the way up here so we can fight. When the lane's over here, we have a lot less potential, and there's a lot more risk when you are starting off with very little health like this Necrophos. So walking up point blank, that was no good. Hopefully you learned your lesson. Or maybe you didn't, and you're just gonna walk up to Wraith King and die. That's always an option. So I hope you can see here that if you do want to go to the lane when you don't have a lot of HP, it's technically possible. It's just pretty risky. I know dying to the tower is kind of weird. It's out there a bit, but I do think it's probably the best play for you. Either way, going straight into Wraith King, not the play. And if you feel oh, well, Techies wasn't here at the very first time, that's why this happened. I mean, Wraith King would have done it anyways. You were 150 health, he would have tried to kill you. Techies would have just poked Wraith King more, that's true, but the 5 isn't here either. So it was essentially a 1v1 where Wraith King had full health and you had 150, and you decided, I'm just going to walk up point blank. All right, it's not a surprise to anyone that you took a really bad trade here. So next time, you got to wait for Techies to get here, and in the meantime, just try to draw creep aggro. If Wraith King is positioned aggressively, then you just can't do anything. That's it. It's not oh, Techies needs to do something. It's I have 150 HP. There is no play here besides to be safe. You walk back to the lane because you have no TP. You come find out they did a small pull, and this is actually going to work out in your favor. Necrophos is very weak in the early levels, especially when you have a rough start like this. So we really just want to get the lane to come back here and then balance it there. This creep wave is supposed to fight this creep wave. And because their creep wave fought a small camp, they're not all going to die. As you can see, there's 3 creeps here still alive. All of your creeps were brought under tower by Wraith King, which means they're all going to die under this tower. So if we then look at the free cam view, 4 creeps here, 4 creeps here. They're supposed to fight it out right here. All of these are going to die, but you're going to have 3 bonus creeps. So that means you'll have 7 creeps versus 4 creeps, and that should be very easy to balance out here. So what do we need to do? Just take it easy. We're still behind. Don't do anything too crazy. You're standing way too close to the creeps. From your fog of war vision, they can pop out and surprise you. You got a decent attack range. Why are you standing right next to them? I know it makes it easier to last hit, but when you're on the back foot, level 3 carry, level 2 support drow, weird game, you can't be this close. You got to be further back. You got to be creep aggroing these creeps further back as well. They weren't showing, so I know it's a little hard, but one of your options is to pop up here, attack a hero here, and then step back over here. creep aggro does work globally. You would see a high level player do that. I know it's not easy, but at least then the minimum is, okay, I gotta like stand further back so that they can't surprise me like this, because this is preventable death number 2. Just kidding. Techie saves you with the blast out, right? He's not totally gone. He's helping you out. You know, let's give credit where it's due. He's gonna save you, and you guys almost kill Wraith King, almost kill Drow. And I want to commend you for not chasing too far, okay? I'm going to do a better job about listing good things you guys do. I'm usually too harsh here, and then all the comments are really harsh as well. Okay, we make mistakes, but we also do some good stuff. I am glad you don't chase too hard here, okay? You chase a little bit, but I'll allow it, okay? And you make your way back. Why is this good? Because I want you to just balance this creep wave. And despite what just happened, this is still fixable. And by fixable, I mean like to hold it up here, right? So we're just going to like hit this creep, deny him, maybe get the last hit as needed, but we're not going to do any extra auto attacking. We're just going to deny the next creep as it gets low, and we're going to keep it here. Well, what about the enemy? They're so close to dying. Do you remember how Necrophos died at the start? He came into lane with 150 health, walked near the Wraith King, and then died. We are going to do that to the enemies now. So Necrophos is going to hold the lane out here, and if Wraith King wants a creep and he decides to walk up, we'll kill him. And if he doesn't do that because he recognizes, wow, I should be careful when I only have 150 HP, then guess what? You just get to last it and deny all the creeps in front of his face and continue to balance it out here. That is very good. 2 positive outcomes. If you chase too far, you might lose equilibrium and you might end up overcommitting, dying, something like that. Okay, so Necrophos does not chase too far, and I think that's good. You actually got Ghost Shroud at level 2. I think you panicked in that fight. If you can get Heartstopper Aura, I actually don't think you need to Ghost Shroud. But you took it because you panicked. It's fine. You gotta take Heartstopper Aura at level 3 because this is all your free mana, free regen. This is Necro specific stuff, so I don't want to focus too much on it in this video. I want to teach you guys like the general offlane stuff. But Necro needs this ability. You can't skip it till level 4. So it's gonna hurt your laning stage. It's free regen every time you get last hits. And it's gonna add into why you die. But like I said, it's Necro specific, so I'm not gonna worry about too much. Here's Wraith King walking up and dying. So that's exactly what he did to you earlier, and that's why it's good that you didn't chase. Small things add up. So you tank this creep wave a little bit. Let's see how much health you have. 449, and you drop down to about 300. So you took 150 damage from creeps for no real reason. These creeps should have been hitting one of your creeps, maybe this melee creep. Drop 150 HP from him, he's in deny range, so you can start hitting your own creep. You end up pushing the lane into them and then coming out to do your own pull, and this is excellent. Offlaners do this. I know we can say the support's supposed to do it, but sometimes they're busy, sometimes they got other things, and sometimes they're just not that great. This is Crusader Archon, let's be honest. There are going to be mistakes. You've made mistakes, your support's going to make mistakes. So let's not blame too much. Let's just see what can we cover for them. And here you can clearly see when you shoved in the lane, you had a chance to do your own pull, and it's a stacked pull. Excellent. Even when they do their own pull, they have kobolds, unlucky. It's not stacked, so it's not going to kill off the full creep wave. Even if it does, your camp is more valuable, so you can like both farm each other's camps, or you farm this camp, they farm this camp. You're going to come out ahead, okay? So this is a really good pull. I'm really glad you did this, and this is going to set you up for the next minute or 2. This is the next creep wave coming in for your team. This is theirs. How many are still in the lane? We got 4 creeps that aren't going to die to the kobold camp. Classic. And all of yours are about to die to this hard camp. That means there's 8 creeps versus 4 creeps. Super easy to balance here, especially because they use this pull camp, which means nothing's going to spawn till 5 minutes, and they can't pull till 5:17. They can try to do a hard camp pull. Hopefully, techies will help you stop that. It might be something you can stop yourself. Even if you can't stop that pull, you just generally hang around that area and you will absorb some XP. So you are pretty much good for the next minute or 2, and the lane is going to sit here. This frees up techies to go do other things, and that's important. You don't want to 2v2 forever. You want to get solo XP when you can, and techies wants to help, get runes, stack, lotuses, wisdom runes, stuff like that. There's a lot of objectives right now, and being free to move around is part of that. Or you could bring the creep wave under the tower for no particular reason. What's up with that? Then you can auto attack them too, the creep that's not getting focused. You're securing the range creep, but that means it's going to do less damage to your creeps, right? So I think you could have held this here till like 6-7 minutes. That covers power runes, wisdom runes, stuff like that. But by bringing it under the tower, you're going to shove it out so that by like 5 minutes and 30 seconds, we are back to right in front of their tower. And if techies leaves now, now it feels pretty bad, right? Now it's like, oh, well, now the Drow's hitting me, the Wraith King's hitting me, where's my techies? Well, Techie saw the lane up here, and he's like, okay, time to go. I'm gonna head over here, gonna go do some stuff. Then he looks back, and is like, how the heck did Necro get up here? Another good self-pull, but you kind of forced yourself to do this since you shoved in the lane that should have been kept up here to begin with. It's still good you did this, but, you know, preferably you wouldn't need to do this. From here, you know, yeah, you're using a little few too many spells, same as techies. There's a lot of AoE stuff, so every time you guys are hitting the enemy creeps, it's going to push the lane out, right? Again, we're kind of in a good spot, but when things like this happen, you know, that one's on techies, but I saw you use a Death Pulse earlier. I saw you attack some of the creeps a little bit more than you needed to. It's not really gonna help us out. You know, especially because for all our nitpicking about techies, he did place a deep ward that spots a Snapfire rotation. So now would be a great time if we'd been doing that creep equilibrium stuff to continue to play up here near our tower. All alone, 1v3, you would be okay, because why would they dive you under this tower when you're just balancing the lane here? Techies is now free to get the Wisdom Rune. You're wasting 2 supports' time because they're just like, well, Necro will shove the lane and then we'll gank him, and they just keep watching you, and you just keep balancing the lane right here, and eventually they have to leave, and it's all space made. It's a very good, like, macro game play here. But if you shove the lane, then it's no good. And if the lane is shoving, you have to at least identify, hey, Snapfire's in the area, we better be careful. Or maybe we can initiate on the Drow over here on the left side, and then, oh shit, there's a Snapfire, we better run now. You know, I think you try to help techies with Ghost Shroud. I would honestly just let them die. If you walked out here, you'd probably have lived, but you turn around to try to Death Pulse this Drow Ranger. I wouldn't really do that. I would just, you know, get out of here. If just techies dies, it's technically a successful rotation, but certainly, you know, better than you dying as well. So I would just get out of here. You almost live here, okay? Check this out. You have 150 HP. You get killed by this crit. That crit did 185 damage to you, so if you had 30 more HP, you probably would have lived just long enough to cast another Death Pulse. That's 105 more heal. HP regen's going this whole time, right? You're doing damage to the Wraith King who's tanking the tower. Maybe you actually get a turnaround kill. It's time to revisit our items. Where are our iron branches to build into this wand and just fill out our empty slots? What if this was a bracer instead of a null talisman, which is a lot more common for offlane Necro who needs to be tankier in a 2v2 compared to the 1v1 in the mid lane, as well as identifying in this game, our job is to be the tanky frontliner for our team, so we should have a bracer. Let's get the Sange instead of the Kaya first. Sange and Kaya is not actually an extremely common very first item, but if you are getting it, you should get the Sange first compared to the Kaya because you want to be tankier, get that amplified HP regen. This should be an Ogre axe along with, you know, a little bit better last hitting. You'd have the Belt of Strength already. You bought this here, but it just hasn't been delivered yet. So if you got it a few seconds sooner, the courier's already brought it to you. That's like 400 extra HP you'd have, plus all the HP regen from all those strength items and the bracer and the iron branch, all that. So you would live here, you'd cast Death Pulse, maybe get a return kill, or at least you live, and this 3-man rotation only got a techie support instead of a double kill. You're walking back to lane, and you even ping that Shadow Fiend seems to be walking down here. You still decide to like go under tower to try to get this Wraith King. I know he's low, he might have his ult, it would have been a nice kill, but it's pretty dangerous. You see Snapfires here too. You pop Ghost Shroud way too soon. You're barely missing any health. It was a position 5 Drow poking you with a single auto attack. You're totally not using Restoration Amplification as part of Ghost Shroud. You are supposed to take damage, and then when they're like really committed, pop Ghost Shroud, then use Death Pulse, then use your stick charges, and then you heal up a ton. That's the old Necro surprise. They think they can kill you, and then like, oh shit, he's full health. That's when you get him. But you just pop it at the first sign of danger, and then you don't play safe after that. You continue to stay in this area, you're turning around, right? And that means you're here longer than you need to be. So then Snapfire gets here. Shadow Fiend actually never showed up, but it didn't really matter. Again, in the end, 99 HP, you're going to get killed by this crit, but I told you earlier, you're supposed to have like 400 other HP if you had the different itemization. You had the Sange first, so this crit still wouldn't kill you. You'd continue running, you would pop another Death Pulse, and you would get back to your tower alive. 4th death. You push up to the tower, you're looking around, that's actually pretty good, I'm glad you're doing that. But you come up here, Wraith King shows up, he stuns you, he hits you, still full health, right? But you pop Ghost Shroud right away. You used Death Pulse earlier, so it's not even like Ghost Shroud, Death Pulse, whatever. You're going to get away alive. you gotta back out. This is your defensive tool. Depending which offlaner you play, you might have a different one, but not everyone, a lot of heroes have some kind of defensive ability, and once you pop that defensive ability, you gotta be careful. You can't be turning around like this, like, oh yeah, I do want to keep playing the area at half health without any defensive tools. Eventually they're going to commit on you like so and start running you down, and then it's like, oh wait, boy do I wish I had Ghost Shroud. Fortunately, you barely get away, but you gotta ult for it, and I can kind of appreciate using the ult to stay alive, but that could have been completely avoided by just identifying I cannot play here once I've used Ghost Shroud. So now, right, I have Ghost Shroud, but we have to identify a new weakness. I have no HP and no mana to use all my spells, so again, I have to be very careful right now. Or we can chase after him. Let's go. No mana, no problem. Come here, Wraith King. You've killed me 3 times, but surely not a 4th time. Ghost Shroud! This is a good one. You were about to die. Pop it. This is where we'd like to use Death Pulse if we had the mana, and that's when you surprise them because they commit. Yeah, you heal yourself, big burst, damage them. That's the play. You're gonna use it to live. It's time to back out. Or we can keep chasing. Let's go. No mana, no problem. Oh shit, it's a problem. Blah. That's the main stuff I wanted to focus on, but I do want to point out your itemization real quick, because in your message you were like, eventually I got to my core items and then I carried the team. These are not core items for Necrophos. Octarine is very rarely purchased. Same with Ags and Ghost Scepter, though they have their place, and I kind of get it. In this game, I can see why you want it. But it forces you to use them, and like you said, if they had bought a single nullifier, your entire thing would have been countered. Your job is to be the tanky frontliner for your team, so Medusa can do damage, the 2 backline supports can join when they need to, and then Anti-Mage picks the fight. If you're in the front and you get jumped with this build, if you don't react in time, you will die. If you do react and they have nullifier, you will die. I think a much better build would have been something like Guardian Greaves, Halberd, Shivas, Overwhelming Blink. Kai and Sanj is still fine. Maybe you disassemble it, maybe you leave it if you don't want the Halberd. I'm okay with it. But all of those items would have given you a lot more survivability, whether you pop Ghost Shroud or Ghost Scepter or not, because you have so much armor, you have so much evasion. Necrophos follows the same concept as, like, buying 3 hearts is not the best way to tank up because you want a balance of health and armor. Necrophos may not have a ton of health, but he has a ton of HP regen and healing. And so simply allowing yourself to heal more frequently is not always the best. He already has a lot of healing. You want to amp that with armor. And this lineup has 5 physical damage dealers with a negative armor item, negative armor ability, negative armor aura, no deso, but an AC, and then an ult that pierces armor. So why didn't we build any armor versus 5 physical attack heroes? Please. Well, I didn't build one. That's why I had this. If you get a nullifier, you lose this game. If you get armor, you could win whether they have a nullifier or not. Which one sounds better? Also, they were like 15k up at 30 minutes and then just decided to dive 4v5 without their Shadow Fiend. So I don't really know if it's your team outplaying them so much as they just chose the terrible fights. Though after this, you guys do make good plays. I saw you carrying Dust versus Invis heroes. That was definitely good. So it's not like you guys didn't do your part after this, but it was definitely them throwing that gave you an opportunity. But hopefully after you incorporate some of the stuff we talked about, your laning stages can go a lot better, and rather than have to come back and recover and all that, right, you just start out ahead, because this actually should have been a really easy matchup for you, Necrophos into Wraith King, but you just started off on the back foot and kept taking like poor positioning, poor itemization, like it all added up to make this lane difficult for you, but it actually should have been super easy. So next time, I hope you'll be able to crush the matchups that you're supposed to and make the game a lot easier for yourself. Thank you for watching. If you want to be in the next episode, leave a comment with the information you see on the screen and you might get picked. I'll see you there.